In the first video, we introduced an approach to create games with customized tools. In the approach, the first step is to customize game features. We use the domain model to formally model these game features, but this UML class diagram may not be straightforward to various games and for everyone. Things are easier if we have something like a concept tool, where predefined concepts can be used as some building blocks. These concepts should meet the requirements for the overall approach. They should have clear semantics to make participants feel intuitive to use. They should be easy to implement as software codes, and they should be structured to make searching and using them efficient. We call such a pool a domain vocabulary. Developing such a domain vocabulary may not be cheap. In order to benefit the most from such a vocabulary, it's targeted at a bigger and more general domain. Therefore, with one domain vocabulary, we could derive many domain models for various small subdomains. PerGO is such a vocabulary for the domain of pervasive games. Before we further introduce PerGO, we quickly have a look at what are pervasive games. Simply speaking, pervasive games are computer games that involve more physical elements in the virtual game world. They are emerging during the recent 10 years. Typical features of pervasive games are like location awareness, context awareness, using variable devices or physical user interfaces, mobile and long-lasting. As a domain vocabulary, the concepts within PerGO should be qualified to ease the consequent tasks in the overall GCCT approach. We reviewed more than 30 pervasive games to ensure all important domain-specific features would be supported. We derive the concepts from a small set of terminologies that are generally used, such as AI, actions, and player proxy. We make sure the logic behind the concepts is coherent and easy for implementation as a data structure, a function, or combination of them like a class. Also, to ease seeking proper candidates in the vocabulary, all the concepts are organized in a tree, and we can go through the concepts by looking at the 6 parts of this tree in sequence, which we call as perspectives, such as gameplay perspective, AI perspective, and etc. If we revisit the previous demonstration of real Pac-Man games, we may be clearer about how PerGO helps us defining the game's features for the tools. We go through the 6 perspectives of PerGO in sequence. In gameplay perspective, 2 groups of concepts are included: challenges, meaning what players need to do in the game, and actions, meaning what players are allowed to do to overcome the challenges. Typical actions in a pervasive game can be like physical movement or physical taking a picture of something, while a challenge of finding some object may probably be overcome by a combination of them, moving to an object and take a picture of it. For AI perspective, some procedure patterns are connected. For instance, we use the follow AI in the real Pac-Man games, indicating an enemy should by default follow the Pac-Man. In element perspective, Pac-Man as a player proxy and the enemy fruits as common visible elements are included. In traditional computer games, keyboard and mouses provide basic but somewhat clumsy means to control the games. While in pervasive games, more advanced control mechanisms are often employed to enable controlling in a more direct way. For instance, a physical touch to invoke in-game actions, or a temperature update to change the game world settings. On the other hand, passive games often employ physical or electrical ways to output the game world information to the players. For instance, physical moving some object or sending an email to somebody. What's more, there are some mechanisms which not only accept control but also present the game world outside. Real Pac-Man games use a real-world map as well as markers above it to receive location information and to present them to players. As a result, we identified concepts candidates in PerGO, make some adaptation if needed, and enrich them with attributes according to the requirements. We can formalize the domain model for real Pac-Man games then. Thank you for watching, and we appreciate your participation in our survey. For any further queries and comments, feel free to contact us.